Barakah, Halayim La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders that prophesied in Ruel for the hopeful 144 and 1/3 of Yasharallah, who this world refers to as Israel, starting at the house of Gray Millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, who teach and learn in sincerity. Shalom to the Akwith, who learn in sincerity. It's your brother, Kanan, and this will be titled, Coming to a Town Near You. And I'm talking about spiritual Babylon, because I'm over here in spiritual Babylon, spiritual Egypt, all right, the United States of America, all right. I want you to pay attention. What you see behind this South Korean dictator, ex-president, is the World Economic Forum, okay, which I refer to as the World Economic Evil, all right, the World Evil Forum, not economic, the World Evil Forum. Bad times come with these people and their non-elected politicians and the authority that they have over this earth, okay. It's not a coincidence that the majority of wickedness comes straight out of this world evil form. All right. So what we got here, South Korea declared martial law for only 6 hours. Okay. And off the back, before I get these verses, I want to tell you that reminds me a lot of that January 6th a couple years ago, what took place with with the Republicans and Donald Trump storming the White House, whether that was a psyops or whatever, it happened. Okay, so chaos, and we're gonna get the scriptures to back this up. Okay, but first, before I get into this martial law, we're gonna get the scriptures that apply directly to this dictator. Okay, so he tried to be slick. He tried to pull this off in the wee hours in the morning while his nation, South Korea, was asleep. Okay, so they woke up to this information. All right, so the first book I have here is the book of Proverbs 26 and 27. Whosoever diggeth a pit shall fall therein. Okay, and when he declared this martial law, he declared it full out authority, even go against all his opposition, so they could be jailed. Okay, and he that rolleth a stone, it shall return upon him. Okay, so once again, setting traps and snares for other people to fall in. All right, to be victim to, but it comes back on your head. Okay, a lying tongue have those that Salakia. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it. Okay, and who's not afflicted by martial law? The whole nation that's under that that's under that decree is affected. Okay, a lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it. And what do they say in martial law? They say that the people are the enemy of the state, but we're doing it to protect the people. So how do you afflict people to protect them? Okay, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. Okay, so let's get this in a Bible comparison. Okay, NLT, if you set a trap, this is once again Proverbs 26 and 27. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. Okay, and that's what he was willing to do, was crush the nation of South Korea. Now, you got to know United States has something to do with it, okay? All right? Matter of fact, if you don't know, what does that say? World Evil Forum. They're all in this together, okay? This is, once again, this is ushering in the new world order, all right? So this is why we need Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, why the angels to come for the nation of Yasharallah, for the election, the hopeful 144 and the 1/3 on this side to save us. Okay, because it's about to get grimy out here, ugly. All right. This is the book of Esther to back that up. And once again, these verses are only applying to this dictator who thought that he can get away with it, And then we're going to go into why I named this Coming to a Town Near You. All right. This is Esther 7, starting at verse 9. Okay? And Harbonah, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, a gallows, hanging device, which Haman had made for Mordecai. And once again, we liken Haman to today's vocab Malone, a straight out hater of the nation of Yasharallah. All efforts going to lie and to cause lie and false accuse the nation, starting with the teachers, with the true teachers that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai set up, the prophets, the seers in this time, starting at the house of Great Millstone. Okay, but this vocab alone, this is straight out Israelite hater. Okay, a Edomite. All right, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him there. Okay, once again, at the beginning was it says, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai. Okay, and then what did the king say? Then the king said, hang him there. So they hung Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. Okay, so you see, once again, you go around setting snares, and who's the number one snare setter? Edom. Okay, the wicked. Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. All right. So now let's get it. Fair use, copyright. I'm not selling any product. This is strictly for educational purposes. 107 fair use.
Wild week around the world. Aleppo just fell to a rebel alliance. Georgia is on the brink of a revolution. The vice president of the Philippines says she's hired a contract killer to assassinate her own boss, and more. In fact, it's been the kind of week that makes you wonder if We Didn't Start the Fire came about 3.5 decades too early. But the news that came out of South Korea on Tuesday, December the 3rd, put it all to shame, and then some. On that day, the democratically elected president of a wealthy, stable nation that's widely hailed as a model for representative democracy around the world decided to declare martial law. His reasons were hazy, his late-night announcement was a wild choice to make, and his powerful opposition had the means to immediately strike it down. But he did it anyway, and for 6 very confusing hours, the nation of South Korea was thrust into the strangest sort of turmoil. This is the how and the why of South Korea's sudden brush with martial law and the way that the nation's crisis ended as abruptly as it began. On the scale of late-night public service announcements, it was the surprise broadcast from hell. In the late hours of the night, local time, South Korea, it was long after children had gone to bed and the choke of traffic had disappeared from all but the busiest city avenues. In the capital city of Seoul, however, President Yoon Suk-yeol straightened his dark red necktie, cleared his throat, and began to read out a statement that should have changed his nation forever. Yoon's statement was a unique one, to say the least, and we'll be diving into it shortly, but to understand the main thrust of what he was trying to say, we'll defer to the military decree that he was explaining to his nation. That military decree established rule by martial law, the replacement of a nation's civilian government, in this case South Korea's, by military rule, and the suspension of civilian law in favor of military power. Said the military, quote, in order to protect liberal democracy from the threat of overthrowing the regime of the Republic of Korea by anti-state forces active within the Republic of Korea, and to protect the safety of the people, the following is hereby declared throughout the Republic of Korea as of 2300 on December the 3rd, 2024. The quote ends. The following portion of the declaration was straightforward, albeit stunning. At 2300 hours, all political rallies, associations, parties, and demonstrations would be banned. All attempts to, quote, overthrow the liberal democratic system and any fake news, public opinion manipulation, and false propaganda were banned. The media was under control of the military, effective immediately. All strikes and work stoppages were ended, effective immediately. South Korea's thousands of striking doctors were compelled to return to work, effective immediately. Those who didn't comply could be detained without warrant and would be punished under martial law. Yoon's key promise to his people in his own address, quote, "I will rebuild and protect South Korea from ruin and despair through martial law." After Yoon concluded his time over South Korea's airwaves, the military moved into action. Key commanders met with the leader of the South Korean armed forces, while military troops and police officers descended on the National Assembly to prevent the entry of lawmakers and protesters. The leader of South Korea's opposition, 2022 presidential nominee Lee Jae-myung, went live online and urged citizens to meet him at the country's National Assembly. Lee condemned the declaration of martial law and offered, quote, "President Yoon Suk-yeol has..."
Okay, so ask yourself, who gave him the orders to pull that stunt? Okay, to go all out full martial law on North Korea. Once again, the World Evil Forum. Okay, with these leaders, including DJ Trump, are puppets to who? The elite. All right, and what's the elite's plan? To shut down the freedom of all nations and put you under the global policing, the global slavery, the New World Order. Okay, all right. Along with that MOTB, Revelations 13 and 16 down. He causeth all to receive it that mark, that karax, okay? That charagma, all right? We're not done.
One of the dumbest decisions I've seen in my life. The dude tried to pull an Emperor Palpatine. One of the dumbest decisions I've seen in my life. One of the dumbest decisions I've seen in my life. The dude tried to pull an Emperor Palpatine, but absolutely failed miserably. Not even half an hour after he stated what he was going to do, the South Koreans all went to the streets and protested. Even though the weather was extremely cold and there was a snowstorm going on, they were not going to deal with his antics. But this wasn't even close to the craziest thing that happened throughout this incident. You had the leader of the opposing party live stream himself trying to go against the orders of the president. Okay, this was absolutely wild. What essentially happened was that the South Korean president enacted martial law hoping to seize full, unquestionable power, mobilizing the military and seeking to disrupt the entire country. In the end, though, he ended up completely underestimating his own citizens and made a grave miscalculation. Make no mistake, this will be in the history books of your children. So I figured we should probably talk about it. Let's do it. On December 3rd, around 10:27 p.m. South Korean time, the South Korean president, with no prior announcement or warning, declared martial law, emergency martial law, saying that he had to rein in the country time. The South Korean president, with no prior announcement or warning, declared martial law, emergency martial law, saying that he had to rein in the country because too many politicians were corrupt and working with the enemy, which is North Korea. He said he wanted to fix the country. Now, under the constitution of South Korea, the president can by himself actually declare one of the dumbest decisions.
Okay, so let's grab the verse to let you know what's coming up next. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, starting at verse 13. Salakia. No. Salakia. That's right. Salakia. Second Esdras 15, starting at verse 14. Woe unto the world and them that dwelleth therein. Okay, the world, not spiritual Babylon, not North Korea, not Russia, not Ukraine. The world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and the one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition. What is sedition? Sedition is an act of going directly against the authorities, against the rulers, okay? Which are what? Your politicians, your presidents, your dictators of this day, okay? Governors, you name it. Mayors, you name it. For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Who are the kings and princes today? All right, the DJ Trump, okay, and his associates. Once again, you got Elon Musk coming into the office of spiritual Babylon with DJ Trump. What do you think that's going to lead to? Okay. and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, so when these revolts start, you see North Korea. I don't know how much of a psyop or false flag that was, but 6 hours. Okay, once again, that reminded me of January 6th. Is this a tad bit? Regardless of the situation, it is a straight warning from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua of what's to come, especially over here, the spiritual Babylon, where everybody's still into mirth and thinking that they're at ease, but at the drop of a dime, baby, hey, the dollar's dead and change is coming with it. Okay. And what did DJ Trump say? Just let me be a dictator for one day. I just want to be a dictator for one day. What do you think is going to come with that? Martial law. Okay. All right. And the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Once again, what's that? Martial law. It's written right here in the scriptures. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. Okay, like I said, have you ever seen a man travaileth with a child? No. Then why do I see every man holding his loins? Okay, as a woman that travaileth, with all faces turned to pale. All right, the Lord is bringing that terrible fear to this world. Okay. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulations. Okay. All right. So let's get back to this and show you an example. Just a little example.
Hey, I guess they helped. Panic was starting to set in. Whether you were a normal citizen, someone in the military, a police officer, it didn't matter. Something like this hadn't happened in over 40 years and they had no warning prior. The whole thing was extremely unorganized. Now, unfortunately, the initial reaction in the West to this was K-pop stans being worried that their favorite K-pop groups were not going to perform anymore because after the martial law was imposed, major entertainment companies were canceling events. But hey, I guess they helped spread the word around? As the news was starting to reach the West, we received more updates from South Korea. The martial law commander was announced. It was going to be a man by the name of Park An-soo. He then proceeded to shock the world with his first announcement after taking over this position: that all activities related to the National Assembly and political parties are now banned. I think you're starting to understand why this was such a big deal, right? The only people who can stop the martial law have effectively been banned, well, from being able to stop it. It was very clear now why the president was so secretive, why there were no prior announcements. Announced the martial law order at 10:30 p.m. so that the National Assembly members could not make it to the National Assembly. He wanted to catch them all off guard and take control while they were sleeping. All of this was confirmed when a big problem had revealed itself. The military had been mobilized to block all access to the National Assembly. The stakes at this point could not have been any higher. The South Koreans were essentially seeing their democracy slip through their fingers, and the older generation was having terrible flashbacks back to the year of 1980. But South Korean men are obligated to serve in the South Korean military through conscription, and while women are not obligated to, they can still voluntarily join. This meant that they didn't really fear the military as much as a regular person would, and they weren't just gonna back down. National Assembly. They were going to go and lift that martial law even if the entire army was standing in their way. The South Korean people were aware of these efforts, so they made their way to the National Assembly to help them. There's this clip right here that went absolutely viral of a woman holding a rifle in front of her and not giving a single shit about what would happen if it was shot. Watch. The president was not going against the opposition party here. He was going against these regular...
Okay, you get the point. But once again, you see why this says that right here, Second Esdras 2, Second Esdras 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition amongst men. Once again, that sedition goes directly against protesting, rioting, standing up, bearing arms against the authorities, which is your government, your politicians and whatnot. The military. All right, amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now, why do you think that I named this Come Into a Town Near You? Because it is. Spiritual Babylon's on the list. You seen Trump there. Once again, quote, if I had the power, I will become a dictator for one day. And also, hasn't Trump promised to aggressively go after the immigrants? Who are the immigrants? Do they walk around with immigrant papers saying, a shirt saying I'm an immigrant? No. All right, you're going to have to point them out, right? And, hey, I may be taken for as an immigrant. We'll find out when that day comes. All right, but it's definitely coming to United States of America. All right, and I'm gonna end this with the book of Revelations. I pray that this was edifying. Just a little quick hit. Let you people see what's coming. What's knocking on the door. Jacob's trouble. And 12. Revelations 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, destruction, chaos, sorrow, anguish to the inhabitations of the earth, all the earth, and of the sea. For the devil, who is the devil? We already know. The self-proclaimed white man, his nation, his people, led by the least of them, the elites, okay? Edom, all right? Is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Why does he got a short time? Because we're at the end of his eon, his kingdom, okay? Because of Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth, which is that righteous kingdom that's going to be established here for eternity, led by Yahweh Shai, okay? While King David underneath him, you know what I mean? And the election, the 144, all right, of Yasharallah, not of any other nation, Okay, so it's his last time to get his licks in, and he's gonna come with that sword, all right? And with that, I pray that this has been edifying. Shalom.